DepEd TV. It's a brand new day, a brand new chance to learn. I am Ma'am Derry, and I am very excited to bring you today's lesson. So set your mind, ready your heart, and brace yourselves as we explore the world of oral communication. For this episode, we will talk about verbal and nonverbal communication. What are the principles of verbal and nonverbal communication? Let's figure them out all together. But before we begin, let's first have a recap. Let us recall the different functions of communication that we have discussed in the previous episode by arranging the following jumbled letters. Are you ready? Let's begin. Number 1. Communication that encourages people to live better. The word we are looking for is motivation. Number 2. Communication functions to convey information. The answer is information dissemination. Number 3. Communication functions to control behavior. This function is control. Number 4. Communication facilitates people's expressions of feelings and emotions. Here we have emotional expression. Number 5. Communication allows individuals to interact with others. The correct answer is social interaction. I certainly hope that you got all the answers. Let us now proceed to our new lesson. Are you ready? Let's get the ball rolling. Kindly take a clear look at this woman and guess the kind of situation that she is in. What's taking him so long? What are your guesses? Did you also guess that this woman is waiting for someone? What else can we say about the situation? Is she enjoying her time waiting, or has she grown impatient? Who is she waiting for? What basis do you have to support your claim? The words we say, the movements we do, and the expressions we make allow individuals to quickly and accurately interpret the message we try to convey. In the given situation, it is easy to guess that the woman is impatiently waiting for a male persona by looking at the following details. 1. She glances at her watch while standing on a sidewalk. This shows that she might be waiting. 2. She has an angry look on her face, and her arms are crossed. This shows that she has grown impatient while waiting. 3. She uttered the words, "What's taking him so long?" The question proves that she is waiting for a long time, and the pronoun him shows that she is waiting for a male persona. In the given situation, verbal and nonverbal communication played a vital role. It became easier to assess the situation because the words mentioned by the speaker were complemented with the actions and facial expressions. Let's start with verbal communication. Verbal communication refers to the use of words to convey a message. This pertains to communication situations where people speak and converse to one another. The communication process becomes easier and more effective when it is certain that the communicators understand the words and context of the message. To achieve that, communicators must consider the following aspects. The first one is appropriateness. This pertains to the use of suitable language which is appropriate to the context of the situation. Is it a formal or an informal communication situation? But how can we distinguish the formality or informality of a communication situation? Well, formal communication situations are ceremonial or dignified gatherings. Here, the exchange of information is controlled and prepared. It also conforms to certain rules and conventions as defined by the goals and values of particular groups or organizations. These are company or business meetings, interviews, conferences, formal one-on-ones, thesis defense, speech contests, speech deliveries in ceremonies, and oral presentations. On the other hand, informal communication situations are characterized by free, casual, and spontaneous exchange of messages. These are communication situations where there are no rules and conventions, and these occur in our daily lives. These are casual conversations, gossips, family and social communication culture, and interrelational activities among peers. The second aspect that we must consider for verbal communication is brevity. This pertains to the conciseness of the message. Simple and precise words must be used. This avoids ambiguity and allows you to deliver your message direct to the point. The third one is clarity. Much like brevity, this aspect pertains to the use of simple yet exact words that directly states your message. Through this, the purpose of your message will be clearly delivered to the audience. For the fourth one, we have ethics. Ethics pertain to moral standards that we must follow when communicating. Your words must be carefully chosen so as not to offend, belittle, or discriminate anyone. Always take note of your receiver's age, gender, race, social status, and beliefs so you can adjust and avoid biased judgment that you may unintentionally commit. Respect is a top priority when communicating with others. Just a dear reminder, respect begets respect. The last aspect to be considered for verbal communication is vividness. This pertains to descriptive words which make your message sound lively and vibrant. This appeals to your creativity in constructing your messages. This language should appeal to the senses so you can elicit an active and vigorous response from your receiver. Again, the aspects that you need to consider to achieve effective verbal communication are appropriateness, brevity, clarity, ethics, and vividness. Now let's have nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication refers to a collaboration of movements which are used to convey a message. These are actions such as hand gestures, body language, facial expressions, posture, tone of voice, or appearance. This does not require nor include any spoken or written words. The commonly used nonverbal cues are as follows. We have bodily kinesthetic. These are your head movements, eye movements, facial expressions, way of sitting, standing, or walking, and hand gestures. What emotion does this facial expression portray? When speaking in front of an audience, will this head movement show that you are confident? Do your eyes move left to right and up and down? Or do you practice having eye contact with your audience? Are you a swayer, a statue, or a pacer? We also have attitude or behavior to specific situations and manners of dressing. These nonverbal cues largely depend on the formality and informality of the communication situation. What must you wear in a specific communication situation? And what should be the attitude that you must behave? Lastly, we have tone of voice. It is easy to determine the mood of a communication situation based on the tone of voice used by the communicators. We would know the situation when the communicators are shouting at one another, when the communicators are whispering, or when the communicators are producing high-pitched sounds. These nonverbal cues correspond to a message that may be interpreted by your audience. To avoid misinterpretation from our audience, first, we have to be aware of our movements. To do that, we may record ourselves while delivering a speech and observe our movements very carefully. And finally, we have to practice and practice, because with practice, we can improve ourselves by correcting ourselves each time. All these nonverbal cues are incorporated in verbal communication so you can deliver your message with conviction. These can also help you emphasize your point. These nonverbal cues can make your message more meaningful. These can give you more confidence too. These also allow you to connect to your audience. And above all, these make you a credible speaker. Now that we have finished discussing the principles of verbal and nonverbal communication, let's answer this. Fill in the missing words to complete each statement. Choose your answers from this word bank. Are you ready? Let's start. Words are important in relaying blank or information. Number 2. Use blank terms in verbal communication to clearly express ideas. Number 3. The use of words shall also depend on the kind of blank, whether formal or informal. Number 4. Speakers shall use simple words to be more blank. Number 5. It is important to state your purpose clearly to avoid blank. Are you done? Let's check your answers. Number 1. Words are important in relaying messages or information. Number 2. Use specific terms in verbal communication to clearly express ideas. Number 3. The use of words shall also depend on the kind of environment, whether formal or informal. Number 4. Speakers shall use simple words to be more credible. Number 5. It is important to state your purpose clearly to avoid misinterpretations. I certainly hope you were able to get all the answers correctly. Now, this next activity has to be done after this show. Watch a morning or primetime news and observe the verbal and nonverbal cues used by the broadcaster in delivering the news. Identify the verbal activities for any of the aspects of verbal communication and the nonverbal cues used. Also, indicate the importance of the nonverbal cues. Use these charts as your guide. Allow me to give you an example. The title of the show I observed is DepEd TV Senior High School Oral Communication. The teacher broadcaster is Ma'am Derry, and the airing date was October 5, 2020. For the verbal communication part, the verbal activity that I have observed falls under vividness. I have observed that the teacher broadcaster used descriptive words to make the statement lively and vibrant. The statement is, "Welcome to DepEd TV. It's a brand new day, a brand new chance to learn." For the nonverbal communication chart, the nonverbal activity I have observed is that the teacher broadcaster waved her hands when she said goodbye to the students. The importance of waving the hands while saying goodbye is to emphasize the end of the show. Now it's your turn to watch and observe a morning or primetime news show and observe the verbal and nonverbal cues you may find. This is the chart that you need to fill out. I am optimistic that you will accomplish this task. Are you ready for a short quiz? Chop chop, let's begin. You will write T if the statement is true and F if it is false. The proper use of nonverbal communication can make you an effective speaker. Number 2. In word use, you must consider the nature and situation for appropriateness. Number 3. Clarity is achieved by using simple and plain words that are easily understood by the audience. Number 4. Individual differences shall be considered when delivering a message. Number 5. Make your message simple and comprehensible when conversing. Are you done? Let's check. The proper use of nonverbal communication can make you an effective speaker. This is true. Nonverbal communication enhances the delivery of a message, thus making you an effective speaker. Number 2. In word use, you must consider the nature and situation for appropriateness. The answer is true. Our choice of words should depend on the formality and informality of the communication situation. Number 3. Clarity is achieved by using simple and plain words that are easily understood by the audience. This is true. The use of simple and plain words allows you to state your message clearly and direct to the point. Number 4. Individual differences shall be considered when delivering a message. The answer is true. If we consider the individual differences of our audience, we will be able to avoid giving out offensive or disrespectful comments or biased judgments. Number 5. Make your message simple and comprehensible when conversing. True. With this, our receiver will be able to understand us and misinterpretations will be avoided. I hope you aced the short quiz. Congratulations, students of the Philippines! We are finally done discussing verbal and nonverbal communication. Now, before we end this episode, I have one last task for you. I want you to post a video showing one nonverbal cue that may be helpful when delivering speeches. Tell us as well of its importance. Let's help one another. To do this, do post on your Facebook using the hashtag DerryMinder so I can easily see your videos. The best one will be featured on DepEd Philippines Facebook page. So make sure that your post is in public. On our next episodes, we will start talking about the different types of speeches. Once again, this is Ma'am Derry, bringing you lessons in communication and leaving you with a Derry reminder. Don't just speak with your mind, speak with your heart. Ciao!